Welcome back everyone to more creepy TikToks, and let's dive in.
Your phone is a digital footprint of your mind. Siri backwards is iris, the iris of your eyes. Now, this is not your physical eye, it's your inner eye, the all-seeing eye of your mind. That's why it's called an iPhone. Every thought you are thinking is manifested into action onto these phones. Therefore, your phone is a digital footprint of your mind, and this is how artificial intelligence has been created. It was not generated by these people. We, as a collective consciousness, a collective mind, have manifested our thoughts into these devices which is tracking it. And what they have done is collected all of this data and created an artificial consciousness, an artificial mind, or AI.
I agree that our phones are digital versions of ourselves. In fact, I would say that our phones know more about us than we know about ourselves. And that's a creepy thing because your government and Google probably knows more about you than you know about yourself.
It's interesting, if you study history, all of the ancient civilizations, the Babylonians, the Sumerians, the Greeks, they all are the Chinese, they just arose out of nowhere. Poof, there's a civilization. There's no evidence of this stuff they teach in school, of them going from hunters and gatherers and grunts and groans, caveman stuff, becoming civilized and building cities. There's no evidence of that. It's the farther back you go, it's all of a sudden, poof, there's the beginning of the Egyptian civilization, the beginning of the Chinese civilization, just like they moved in and built it in less than 100 years. So some strange things have been found in the fossils, as in the ground, that would indicate man used to be really smart. This little airplane, for instance, is in the Smithsonian, I believe. It was found in a grave in Colombia. It's about 1,000 years old. But it's an airplane, quite obviously, with all the features of an airplane. They knew about flight. In Peru, they've got giant stone walls like the one in the picture here. These stone walls are phenomenal. Some of the rocks in there are so huge, we can't even move them today. How did they move that? Who did it and how did they do it? I don't think it's logical to say ancient man was primitive. They must have known something we don't know today.
I somewhat believe in progression, but I've always wanted to know how we went to living from, Paleolithic times to modern times. And in terms of our technology today, I do believe it was used back in Egypt and thereafter. And I do believe that our technology is recycled and nowhere near as advanced as what it would have been back then.
Speaking of patents though, in hurricanes, there is a patent using sound waves to manipulate hurricanes and tornadoes. This guy named Waxmansky, he came up with using sound waves to quickly evaporate the ocean water to where it could stop a hurricane. It got abandoned eventually because he died. Weirdly, his son died too. But then this year, another guy came out with a patent almost identical to his, and it got approved. Where it gets weird though, he was federally sponsored for the research of this.
But the other guy wasn't federally sponsored.
No.
So he just mysteriously dies and this guy comes up with his patent.
It is
still weird, yeah.
But it says people that helped sponsor the project: 21st Century Fox, the Walt Disney Company, and the Vatican.
Why?
And this is on the patent website. This is on the U.S. patent website.
Those are the three big hitters right there.
And it's like, that's so weird. He claimed that the U.S. government is using his patent already. Someone got a screen grab of the radar of Hurricane Beryl heading towards Texas. The swirling weird pattern was captured on one of the radars.
I've never seen that.
I mean, you look at that, and then you look at that.
That's real.
That's real.
Stealing someone else's idea to then later on patent it yourself and own it. I mean, at this rate, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Bill Gates himself.
Money no longer exists. In the 1930s, the US was $20 billion in debt. At this time, the US dollar was backed by gold, but the entire country only had about $4 billion worth of gold in their reserves. So what they do? They declared a bank holiday, shutting down every bank in America for 1 week and stopping everyone from accessing their money. After 1 week, gold was made illegal, and any money you had in the bank wasn't allowed to be withdrawn. Fast forward to 1971, countries started sending warships to the US to collect their gold. The president said no and broke the link between the US dollar and gold. The United States could now print as much money as it wanted. The best part is, now they're taking it a step further via CBDCs and everyone's just going along with it. How many have been found dead for speaking the truth? A man named Dr. Michael Mosley was found dead. Insiders say that he was working to completely expose the COVID vaccine. He allegedly started by testing the effects of the vaccine on his own body. His blood work began to get worse and worse, and his organs were slowly shutting down. William Morgan was a member of different American lodges. In collaboration with a journalist, he prepared a press publication about some Freemason secrets. A little while after this, Morgan disappeared in Niagara Falls. Hundreds, if not thousands of people have tried to expose the elites. Every time somebody begins to speak out and gain popularity, they do one of the following. 1. Divert the attention of the masses with something bigger. And 2. They cancel, incarcerate, or kill the person speaking out.
This is true, and how many times over the past few years has our attention tried to be diverted away from what really mattered to us at the time? And, you know, trying to expose the truth, you'll end up being someone like, you know, Julian Assange.
This girl was forced to participate in a government experiment by her own father, and it turned her into a monster. It was called the Abigail Project. It was the 1960s, right after World War II. The government had hired a guy named Albert Wester to work on these experiments in Area 51 to create a freaking super soldier. But because of how secret and dangerous this experiment was, nobody would volunteer. Like, they couldn't find anyone. What does Albert do? He forces his own daughter to be the test subject. But before I tell you the rest of the story, supposedly you can see if your phone is being spied on. All you gotta do is click share, click more, and if you see this, delete it immediately. Now look, Abigail was placed in a closed room all alone. They gave her growth hormones, injected classified substances in her DNA, and even surgically modified her own body when they weren't getting the results they wanted. She started to turn into something that wasn't even human and had primal instincts. Her father, who was ashamed and devastated of what he did, you know, himself, and went to heaven, or not. 3 months later, Abigail, 2 guards that were supposed to be feeding her, and yeah, she escaped.
You could make a good series out of that, but is it true? I honestly don't know. I did some research and it's leaning more towards false, but is it possible that the government could have conducted experiments like this in the past before? I would say it's very plausible.
I'm not letting them get me angry anymore, guys. I'm just trying to eat my breakfast. Fucking destroying everything in my flat. I'm not even bothered anymore. I think that's just happened because I'm staying out tonight. So I'm going out to watch the football, the final, England and Spain. And then I'm staying out. I was on a phone call just before all this started happening.
If that was me, I wouldn't have took that ghost scuff. I would have grabbed the standing fan, I would have turned it on, aimed it right at him, and then I would have done the biggest fart known to man and send that ghost right into a second death. I can't even have a cup of tea in peace.
Well, we genuinely have to give Keir Starmer and Rishi Sunak in the last 2 months credit where credit is due, because Catholics and Protestants are quite literally marching shoulder to shoulder in Belfast, Northern Ireland, as they demand an end to mass immigration. And when you see these two communities putting their differences aside that's existed since the 1960s coming together, I mean, some might argue that you've actually really messed up by doing this, because you've managed to unite two fighting factions together against you. So, for the good of the United Kingdom, not particularly good for you, though.
We beg to differ. Yeah, you've done that. Yeah. Look at this. That's a fucking
Unreal. So if you don't know much about the Trouble, which kind of began in the 1960s, the conflict was primarily political and nationalistic, and it was fueled by historical events, and it also had an ethical and sectarian dimension to it. But despite the use of the word Protestant and Catholic to refer to those two sides, it was not a religious conflict. And a key issue was the status of Northern Ireland, where Unionists and Loyalists, who for historical reasons were mostly Ulster Protestants, wanted Northern Ireland to remain within the United Kingdom, but the Irish nationalists, Republicans and Irish Catholics wanted Northern Ireland to leave the United Kingdom and join a united Ireland. So, yeah, the UK government has managed to do something that no one's been able to do in the last 70 years and bring two factions in Ireland together in one fell swoop. So, well done.
It's a beautiful thing when you're witnessing a time where two countries with the history they've had come together and unite as one with solidarity. I mean, people have had enough of seeing all these military-aged men coming in by the boatfuls and not seeing one child and one woman. Everyone knows that they're soldiers that are coming into the West, and people have had enough.
A dirty-footed Subway employee was filmed sitting on the food prep counter. None of the workers seemed to care, as the man continued making a sandwich in the same spot. The video has left many internet users disgusted. Some were surprised that customers continued to order, and said they would have left immediately.
If they don't grate that cheese from that man's foot, then it's simply not a sandwich, and it's definitely not Subway. I mean, that's not how Subway rolls.
The guy kept asking for extra cheese, and then he just walked away. What am I supposed to do with this? There's so much cheese.
This man is the real-life Jigsaw, kidnapping and psychologically torturing more than 60 women. This is the story that inspired the directors of Saw. Back in the 90s, David Parker Ray, known as the Toy Box Killer, was an American kidnapper and torturer. His adolescence was complicated as it was disturbed by the abuse of his father and grandfather, which eventually led him to try many vices. It is presumed that this man captured and tortured more than 60 women in his own home, occasionally assisted by his daughter and wife. The most terrifying and curious part of his story was that he built a semi-trailer, which he called Toy Box. This trailer was equipped with various items that he used to torture, also with audio devices where he played recordings to psychologically abuse his victims. David Parker Ray was convicted of kidnapping in 2001, sentenced to 224 years in prison after one of his victims escaped, but there was insufficient evidence to blame him for some lifeless victims. David was found lifeless from heart failure in 2001.
I thought Saw films were really good back in the day because of how intelligently scripted they were, but I never once thought that they were based on a true story. But it just goes to show you that this world really is stranger than fiction sometimes.
The Illuminati plan for World War III. Albert Pike, historical Masonic figure, a 33rd degree Freemason and occultist. Albert Pike wrote to Giuseppe Mazzini in 1871 regarding a conspiracy involving 3 world wars, planned in an attempt to take over the world.
I quote, "The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world." Yeah, that's what he says. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the State of Israel, mutually destroy each other.
Here's Israel in 1948. It's a tiny country, isolated, surrounded by a hostile Arab world. Now look at what happens. The whole Middle East changes. We tear down the walls of enmity.
I've come to the realisation that what's happening over here in the UK and Ireland, and soon to be all over the West, has not only been done intentionally, but also instigated by those in power. And the military-aged men that we are seeing coming over in their dinghies and busloads have been deliberately placed here to create unrest. And sadly it's working, because we can see the division, the conflict that's taking place right on our doorstep. We should all be asking questions on how this stemmed from and why. And it doesn't take long before you start to think about the reset, the digital ID, the digital currency, the one world order. And we also know that they love to create chaos, because if they create chaos, they have a solution. And we already know that they have a solution. So it's only a matter of time before something comes out of this. And my guess is the first thing that will happen will be a digital ID.
Let her go! What are you doing with her? What are you doing with her?
Bro, this is man's family, bro. Move. Are you not? This is man's family. Move from me, bro.
Is that the same one that just walked past us, Mum? So what are you doing in the corner with her? Are you okay? I'm following you.
Why are you fucking stalking man, bro?
Are you okay? Do you know him?
You know, it's sad because that could have been anyone's daughter. It could have been my daughter, it could have been your daughter. But I really do think that we should bring back the death penalty specifically for those people.
Real right, okay. Sure. Monsieur. For someone else?
They're saying Gen Z people age way faster than everyone else. Did you know that?
Gen Z. I don't believe that.
Gen Z age way faster than everyone. But
Why?
if you bag it though, like look at millennials. They high-key look young, bro.
Nah.
Yes, they do.
They look their age. No, I'm
No,
not gonna lie. They look
compared
their
to us though, we look kind of older. Fam, okay.
Actually, okay. Oh yeah, okay. I can see that.
So there's this guy that made a video. We seen him one time. He's the guy that's like on TikTok, like, come here.
Oh yeah.
Yo, how old do you think that guy is?
Okay. If I was
That
looking
guy was 35, fam.
yeah, no, he's like 30, right? He should be 30.
He's like 25.
Oh,
Dad,
no.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
That's crazy.
Yo, he's 25.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Exactly. So there's a theory right now. People are saying the reason everyone in Gen Z is aging at a fast as fuck rate is literally because of our phones and blue light. So blue light, it has negative side effects that age your skin faster, and it pretty much just literally just your pigments, everything, it just ages you faster. Also our brain. Now you can imagine if we're always looking at our phone like this, the blue light is hitting us
all the
at
time.
nighttime, bedtime, whatever. It's like you know when you go to the tanning bed, that blue light is hitting you and making your skin wrinkle, it's making your skin damage, everything like that. There's also a lot of microplastics in almost everything we eat and everything we see. So like, for example, our food.
I've never noticed this myself, but I have heard people say that they do look older for their age. But blue light definitely would be one factor because of the amount of times they spend on their phones. But also I heard that the way they dress is another factor because they dress like someone who are in their 40s or in their 50s.
Y'all don't find it strange how motherboards is built like cities? This is a motherboard. This is what a motherboard looks like. And this is what an actual city look like. Y'all see the resemblance? A motherboard in a city. Motherboard in a city. Is this not crazy? Y'all see this right here? This is a motherboard. Do this not look like the Twin Towers? Does this not look like it's a bridge? I think I'm really starting to understand what they mean by harness the energy. Because let's think about this hypothetically now, right? If a city is the motherboard, then what is the power source? Could we potentially be, hypothetically, the power source? And another question. Did y'all build the cities around motherboards, or did y'all build the motherboards around cities? Because as they say, so above, so to below. So within, so without. Y'all, let's do what the internet do best. Y'all comment down below, what's y'all theory on this?
I can see the resemblance, but at the end of the day, it could just be a coincidence. I mean, are we really living in a matrix? And is this really just a simulation?
You see how beautiful and fluffy these clouds look? Look at that. They look fake, right? They look fake like they're being like made from a machine. Look at this shit. Look at that shit. Those are clouds. That is not smoke. That is clouds being pumped out of that smokestack right there. Out of the fucking power plant. It's a straight line into the fucking clouds, and the clouds look fake as fuck. Look at this shit. Next thing is birds. I know they're not real.
Hey, this is a farm boy. I hope this don't get me into trouble. I put up a video that talked about food, and well, it got taken down, and I appealed it, it got put back up, then it got taken down, and so I just took it off. Then I reposted the video and give it a different name, and today it got violated, and I got a warning strike, which means the farm boy's account could get banned if I make any more mistakes, lacking authenticity. Well, let me show you something here about authenticity. Now, you guys tell me what you think about this. Can you see those sunflowers? Sunflowers have a thing called heliotropism. They face the sun and curve their face towards the sun every day, all day, every hour to absorb the sun. Can you see there? Yeah, they got their face turned away from the sun here. Now, if you look up over through there, you can see the beans and the corn and all that kind of stuff. And they don't have much choice. It's either grow straight up or fall down. But these sunflowers have a completely different mechanism. And for some reason, they don't like the sun. Now, I don't know what's causing that, but I'm inclined to say that the very people that took down my videos also might be responsible for this. I don't know that to be the truth, and I have no one to point a finger at. But I do know that these sunflowers are not facing the right direction.
We could say this is some kind of proof to indicate that we have an artificial sun, but we also need to take in factors like the cycle of sunflowers, and also if there's any sort of chemicals that's being spread in the sky that may cause a negative reaction to sunflowers. That could also be a factor as well.
So apparently aliens don't like Jesus. Check it out.
There's over 400 cases where these abductions have been halted by people calling on the name of Jesus Christ. And in the movie, we have the testimonies of these people who were having these experiences. They were terrified, and in the moment of terror, they recalled or called out to their childhood memories of who Jesus was. And the instant his name was called, it stopped.
So why do these aliens respond to Jesus?
Exactly. Exactly. And that indicates the spiritual nature of what is going on. So the evidence is spiritual. And then when we get to the level of abductions, deceptive messages are being given to people. But then when they're halted in the name of Jesus, that is incredibly powerful. And again, when I'm saying that we've now got hundreds of testimonies, I know people in the higher levels of UFO investigations that actually readily acknowledge this. What is it about Jesus that these aliens don't like?
I've always believed that aliens are demons, and this could be proof to indicate how true that may be. But if there was no power in the name of Jesus, then how could you explain away this?
Yo, this is boxer Bryce Mitchell, and in this video he's speaking on Elon Musk. I need y'all to check this out.
Somebody that has fooled everybody, but he simply cannot fool me. Elon Musk. He could possibly be the false prophet who presents the mark of the beast to the world and presents the Antichrist on the world stage. I mean, that's how evil I think he is. There's a good chance that the Antichrist is walking and breathing on this planet as we speak, which that means that the false prophet that comes along with the Antichrist is a lie. So why do I think it's Elon Musk? He's not done anything he said he did. He's not a scientist. He's not a propulsion engineer. He don't make electric cars. He pays people to do it for him. He's one of the greatest scammers that humanity's ever seen. But I think he's actually a step further than just a con artist. I think he's evil embodied. And I can say that with confidence. Elon Musk is inventing chips that go in people's brains. And I'm telling you, that is the behavior to look for when you're talking about the Antichrist. There's going to be a mark in everybody's head, and there's going to be a mark in it or on their hand, okay? That's what they call the mark of the beast. And I'm telling you, Elon Musk, if he hasn't invented the mark of the beast yet, he is laying the groundwork for the Antichrist to take that mark of the beast and implement it on all humans. And I'm telling you, that's beyond a con artist. That is evil embodied. To lie to somebody to the degree that you can tell them, hey, put this chip in your brain and I'll help you. and he's going to convince millions of people to put that chip in their brain. And I'm telling you right now, he sounds like the false prophet, and the false prophet is going to present the Antichrist. If you type in Neuralink in Greek Beta Gematria, it's numerical value 666. I don't care who sold it to him or this or that.
That's blew my mind because I went ahead and checked it there now, and it does in fact correspond to 666. But the thing about Elon Musk is he says a lot of things that is for the people, but his actions tell you otherwise. But at the same time, we also know that this is the direction we are heading. You know, the government wants everything to be digitized, and we are heading for that one world government. So it just seems natural in that process that we're naturally going to lead to, you know, an implant, whether it's going to be in our hands or in the forehead. But will you be the one to take it? I hope not.
I'm about to speed run the entire last year of investigations right now. So BlackRock controls everything, right? Wrong, but we'll start there. Because if you go to the grocery store and try to buy something like shampoo or deodorant or baby food, turns out that basically every option is owned by mega corporations that are all owned by the same people. Top shareholders of all of these corporations are Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street, the big three. Doesn't matter how many different companies you look at in all of the different parts of our lives, top shareholders of every single one of these little stock sheets is Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street. And sure, they're managing our money, like your retirement account, but what they're doing is they control the voting power on all those shares. I don't know if you can read this, but like index funds, mutual funds, exchange traded funds, all the things that Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street use to get your money in their pockets, which is still yours, clearly. They control the voting rights. And so what that means is when you look at the board of directors of all these different companies, of every company in the market, their boards of directors were selected by the same three biggest shareholders, Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street. That board of directors determines who runs the company, determines how the company operates, determines whether to put poison in the food or food in the food, determines whether to tell you that there's asbestos in the baby powder or to cover it up for 30 years. And so all the different mega corporations that make all the things we use in our daily lives are all owned by the same big three financial institutions, along with their buddies, the big banks. But then when you look at all the big banks and financial institutions, you know who owns them? Each other. They all own each other. And what that means is there is a ruling class of bankers, of old banking families, of big money that collectively owns the financial institution blob. And they're controlling all of the mega corporations through the boards of directors who select the CEOs, et cetera, down the line. And those bankers and corporations have developed some pretty wild tricks in order to shuffle their money around, you know, exert this control, buy off the government. In case you hadn't realized yet, I'm in Idaho right now and I'm speed running a talk that I'm about to give tonight and tomorrow night at the Old State Saloon. We are about to break it all down for like 4 total hours plus some Q&A at the Old State Saloon in Eagle, Idaho. More on that at the end. So these bankers, these rich people, their families, a lot of that money is deeply tied into the black market systems of arms trades, drug trafficking, other kinds of trafficking. They launder all that money through things like art sales. The music industry is a big one that people don't talk about. Hollywood is full of money laundering because everybody needs a bank, including the criminal. So all that we're going to cover tonight in a 2-hour-long live talk that's going to be streaming on the internet through Old State Saloon's social media. That's essentially a speed run of my first 6 months of investigations into this whole thing. And we're going to go pretty deep. I am stoked. But tomorrow night, we're going to go deep on what the intelligence world is all about. What are spies really? See, they told you that these are spies, but actually these are more like what spies really look like. Because when you look at the history of who founded all this stuff, the kinds of people they were aligned with, the things they were doing, the types of backgrounds they had, the actions they took once they'd established these intelligence agencies, you realize that because the point of intelligence agencies is plausible deniability, most of the assets that intelligence agencies are working with are not actually card-carrying members of those intelligence agencies. And when you start to break down some known intelligence networks of the modern day, you start to realize just how powerful it is when you're leveraging outside assets like businessmen, like private citizens, private companies, because it hides what's really going on. See, we already had a military that was super strong. We didn't need a spy agency if all we wanted to do was exert force around the world. But when you want to do covert operations, secret programs that don't trace back to whichever government is behind them, you want private citizens that run their own businesses doing that work for you. You want people that can walk in the gray areas in various industries. People with a lot of power and money and influence, but who also can be controlled, either through loyalty or through blackmail or through whatever. So yeah, you can see why I'm so hyped. We're gonna break everything down. There will be no filter. We're not on YouTube. We're being hosted by the most based saloon you could possibly find. And we're gonna do it all from an evidence-based, like intelligent, discerning point of view.
I enjoyed that clip, but it also shows us just how much control they have over our lives. I mean, we could start our own currency and have all our farmers and other places and businesses on board with this currency, but it would be too late by then to even try that. But it's kind of scary to see how much control they really do have over our lives. And also, if you enjoyed that clip, I know it was longer than usual, but if you enjoy long clips, let me know in the comments below.
Give me the name of the standard unit of electrical power.
What?
A what? Correct. The famous comic actor was Mr. Will...
Hey?
Mr. Will Hay, correct. A legal question now. A man is released from prison because he has received the royal...
Pardon?
The royal pardon, correct. And what were the last words of Ludwig van Beethoven?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yes, they were. Correct. The name of the first Bond film was Dr... Do you know it?
No.
Dr. No, correct. I want you now to tell me the first two words of the song that goes on, Give You Anything But Love, Baby.
I can't.
I can't give you anything but love, baby. Correct. What is the English for je ne sais pas?
I don't know.
Correct. What is the standard reply of a British Rail information officer?
Oh, don't ask me.
Yes, it is.
If you enjoyed the topics from this compilation, you can go ahead and click right here for more. But that's it for today, guys. I hope you really enjoyed the compilation, and if you haven't already, please go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe button. I would really appreciate your help in supporting the channel and getting the truth out there. But until the next video, guys, look after yourselves, stay safe and stay healthy, and I'll see you then.